Hello, students. Today we are going to go over the economics of West Virginia and how has it changed over a couple of the years. So, the main part that we're going to look at is the main industry that everybody thinks West Virginia is about is the coal industry. So, today I have three sources for you. I have an interview with somebody that has been in West Virginia and worked around West Virginia for the past 50 years. And then I have a podcast for you by the National Public Radio, which is also West Virginia Public Radio. And it's what happens when people meet the gas industry inside Appalachia. And that's the podcast title if you guys want to go listen to that later on, Inside Appalachia. And then we also have a scholarly article by Shannon Elizabeth Bell and Richard York, which is titled Community Economic Identity, the Coal Industry, and Ideologically Construction in West Virginia. So this article takes more of a look at the ideology that the companies are like friends with coal and stuff like that, try to see how they manipulate the public eye and what they're doing. So first of all, I want to discuss the interview I had with the employee who worked in West Virginia for a very long time. Now, I asked him what has been the hardest part about finding jobs in West Virginia, in the coal industry or any industry, because he is an electrician, so he could work in many different ones. So, first of all, I asked him where was the first job he had, and he said West Virginia in the coal mines. And I asked him what they needed, and he said, they needed a diploma. These are the requirements that most companies, like plants and stuff like that, wanted back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, which he said was pretty easy getting a job because the industry was booming back then. So at this time, all they wanted was a high school diploma, needed some experience maybe from something to show that you are an able worker, and military service because, as he said, that they had the military service and they knew they could be trained to do what they wanted them to do in their plans. And he said around the 80s has dropped in the coal industry, and that's when he had to move over by D.C., still in West Virginia though, in the Martinsburg area, to find a job so he could provide for his family. And I asked him one of the economic downsides of this place about coal industry and the plants in West Virginia, which we are known for, is the environmental side of it. Mountaintop removal, toxic waste getting into ponds. It's environmental issues all over the place. So these would affect him and the environment that he lived on. And he said he was always worried about it. He knew that the coal industry was not really doing anything about it, but then they came out and said that they were trying to get clean coal products out that they would put into their coal mining industries, and this would make it cleaner for them to do. So, but then he said it never happened, never came towards it. And this in the podcast goes into the podcast. It says what happens when people meet the gas industry. There's a lot of toxic stuff that happens with the gas industry, and this makes it difficult for people who live around these places and work in this natural gas and oil and coal and timber industries to see that what they're doing is hurting the environment a little. So all these companies are doing this, but how are they trying to go against it and trying to go to more clean, efficient ways? Well, as we can see in the abstract of this scholarly article and in it and throughout it, it does say that the findings that they have found and the key strategies of like the Friends for Coal efforts to become pervasively visible in the social landscape and appropriate of cultural icons that exploit the masculinity of the region and stuff like that, like the hard workers, the blue collar workers, what they're doing is they're working to maintain their power through ideological manipulation. So what they're doing is they're saying that the coal is great for them. It's good. It brings jobs, and it does bring jobs, but it does hurt the environment also. So I have some key words in here, some tier 3, some tier 2 vocabulary that will come along with our content area that we're going to cover in this chapter, which is economics and how it has affected West Virginia in the past, coming to the future, and how it's affecting us now, and how through the 60s, 50s, and 70s that we were an economic boom. We had 1.8 million people in 60s, 50s, and 70s, and now, about 50 years later, we still have the same amount of people, 1.8 million. That's about the same, around there. So, this is just an overview to get you guys ready for the chapter that we're about to go into to discuss all these economic problems and benefits. I know I went through a lot of the social, environmental factors of coal industry and everything like that, but at the same time, there is a bunch of positives that we can pull from this, and we will discuss this in class. And you guys will watch this. Please watch it again so you can pick up those keywords. I will give you a list of them, but please watch it again so you guys understand what we're going to talk about in this next chapter. Thank you.